Welcome to my YouTube channel at Sci-Fi Tales Pules. Please subscribe, like, and share to support my channel. Captain Laura Bennett stood at the command deck of the Horizon, her eyes fixed on the view beyond the glass. Space stretched endlessly, dotted with distant stars that seemed frozen in the black. The crew had been traveling for weeks, mapping the edges of the Eta 9 system. The mission was simple on paper: find habitable worlds, gather data, and return home. But for Laura, it was more than a mission. She wanted to find something that would change everything for humanity. The moment came when a sensor alert broke the silence. Ethan Carter, her second-in-command, leaned over his console. "Captain, I think you need to see this." His voice was calm, but there was a note of surprise in it. Laura walked over, her boots clicking softly on the metal floor. The screen, a new planet, rotated slowly. It was unlike anything they had seen before. Soft golden light wrapped around it like a halo, making it look alive. The surface was green with forests, blue with wide rivers, and white with shining mountain peaks. Dr. Olivia Brooks joined them, holding a tablet that showed environmental readings. Breathable air, perfect gravity, stable climate. "It's like the planet was made for us," she said. Her tone was filled with disbelief. Laura stared at the display. "Prepare a landing team," she ordered. Her voice carried a steady confidence. But inside she felt the stir of excitement. They had found something special. Hours later, the Horizon descended through the golden light surrounding the planet. The shuttle touched down in a wide meadow filled with tall grass swaying under a warm breeze. The sky above was a deep blue with streaks of gold, as if sunlight itself had been painted across it. Laura stepped out first, the grass brushing against her boots. She took a slow breath, filling her lungs with air that was cleaner than anything she had known. Birds with shimmering feathers darted overhead, singing songs that seemed to echo through the air like music. Ethan scanned the horizon with a portable sensor. No signs of danger. "The readings are steady," he reported. Olivia knelt near a stream that ran past the meadow. She dipped her fingers into the water and smiled. "Pure, no contamination. It tastes like it comes straight from a glacier." The crew moved farther from the shuttle, exploring the meadow. They found trees that reached so high they seemed to touch the clouds, and flowers with petals that glowed faintly under the sun. The beauty of the place was overwhelming, and yet there was something else. It felt alive in a way that was hard to explain. They walked toward a ridge that rose gently from the ground. As they climbed it, they saw a grand valley below. In the middle of the valley stood a city, shining in the sunlight. The towers of white stone rose high, their shapes elegant and graceful. Paths of marble wound between gardens and fountains, all perfectly arranged. Laura stood still, taking in the sight. "It's impossible," she whispered. "There's no record of a colony here, no history of settlement." Ethan looked at her. "Then who built this?" Before she could answer, they saw figures in the distance walking toward them. The people wore robes of gold and white, their faces calm, their steps unhurried. At the front was a woman with hair like silver silk, her eyes bright with kindness and power. She stopped a few feet away and studied the visitors. "Welcome," the woman said in a clear, warm voice. "You have reached the Pleroma." Laura glanced at Ethan and Olivia. None of them had ever heard the name, but it felt strangely familiar. The woman gestured for them to follow. They walked together toward the city. The closer they came, the more Laura noticed the details. Every stone in the road was flawless. The gardens overflowed with flowers of colors she had never seen. The air carried the scent of blossoms and fresh rain, though no rain had fallen. People in the city smiled as they passed, as if they had been waiting for this moment. It was a place untouched by time or sorrow. Yet beneath the beauty, Laura felt the weight of a mystery. How could such a place exist in the middle of uncharted space? And why did it seem to welcome them as if they already belonged? As the sun began to set, casting golden light over the city, Laura knew one thing. This was not just another mission. The Horizon had found something beyond rare. They had found the Pleroma. The path into the city felt like stepping into another world. Laura, Ethan, and Olivia followed the woman with silver hair as she moved with calm grace. The streets were lined with people dressed in fine robes, each face open and friendly. The buildings rose high but seemed light, almost glowing under the warm sunlight. Water from crystal fountains sparkled as it ran into pools lined with smooth stone. Lara kept her eyes moving, taking in every detail. It was unlike any place she had seen on Earth, or in the colonies. The air was clean, the lights soft, but bright enough to make the city look alive. She noticed there were no signs of machines or modern technology, yet the city was perfect in every way. The woman led them to a wide courtyard where a group of people stood waiting. At the center was a tall woman dressed in a long golden gown. Her hair was dark and braided neatly, and her eyes held a quiet strength. The silver-haired guide stopped before her and bowed her head. The tall woman stepped forward. "I am Queen Eleanor," she said. Her voice was steady, each word clear and sure. "You have come far to reach the Pleroma." Laura exchanged a look with Ethan and Olivia. "We did not know this place was here," Laura said. "It does not appear on any maps." Queen Eleanor smiled gently. "It is not meant to. The Pleroma is not like other places. It is a refuge. It is where peace is kept safe." The Queen invited them to walk with her. They moved through gardens filled with flowers that swayed as if in greeting. Children played in the fields nearby, their laughter ringing like soft bells. There was no noise of engines, no tension in the air, only a calm that seemed to flow through every street. Olivia spoke softly to Laura as they walked. "Do you feel it? It's like the air carries something that makes you forget worry." Laura nodded. She had felt it since the moment they arrived. It was not just beauty, it was a strange sense of knowing, as if the place understood them. They reached a hall made of pale stone, its high arches carved with patterns of stars and rivers. Inside, the light was golden, coming from unseen sources. The long tables were set with food unlike any they had seen before. Fruits that shone as if lit from within. Bread warm as if fresh from an oven, and water so clear it seemed like liquid glass. "You are welcome to share in our table," the Queen said. "Here, all are guests." The crew sat among the people of the city. Every person they met was kind and eager to speak, yet there were questions they avoided. When Laura asked about the history of the city, they only smiled and said, "It has always been here." When Ethan asked if anyone ever left, the answer was silence followed by a change of subject. Later, the Queen took them to a balcony that overlooked the valley. From here, the whole city spread out below them, framed by mountains that shone in the fading light. "The Pleroma is a gift," she said. "It is meant to be protected. Those who find it are chosen for a reason." Ethan asked, "Why us?" The Queen looked at him with eyes that seemed to see past his words. "Because you are at the edge of change." Laura felt a shiver run through her. The words held weight, though she did not understand them. She wanted to ask more, but the Queen had already turned back toward the hall. That night, they were given rooms in a tall tower overlooking the gardens. Laura stood by the window, watching the city lights flicker softly. In the distance, the mountains glowed faintly under the moon. It was the most peaceful place she had ever known, yet her thoughts would not rest. There was a secret here. She could feel it in the way the people looked at them, in the way the Queen spoke. Ethan stepped into her room quietly. "I don't think they want us to leave," he said. Laura looked at him. "I think you're right."
Morning came with a soft golden light spilling through the tall windows of the tower. Laura awoke early, the air fresh and cool. The city below was already alive with movement, but there was no rush or noise. People walked slowly, speaking to each other with calm voices. It was unlike anything she had known back on Earth or on any colony world. Ethan joined her for breakfast in the main hall. They sat at a table near a window where they could see the gardens. Olivia arrived a few minutes later, carrying her research device. She had been studying soil and water samples all night. "This place is perfect," Olivia said as she set the device down. "No disease, no decay, nothing harmful in the air or water. It's like time does not touch it." Laura listened but kept her thoughts to herself. Perfection was beautiful, but it was also strange. There was always something hidden under perfection. They were invited to meet Queen Eleanor again in a smaller chamber lined with shelves of books. The Queen greeted them warmly and asked about the rest. "We slept well," Laura said. "Your city is unlike anything we have seen." The Queen smiled. "It is meant to be so." "The Pleroma is a place where all can live in harmony," Ethan asked. "How do you keep it this way?" "No crime, no sickness, no problems at all." The Queen's eyes softened. "We keep it by remembering who we are. And by not letting the outside world in, Laura caught the meaning behind the words. She asked, "Does that mean no one can leave?" The queen did not answer right away. Instead, she walked to one of the shelves and took down a small book. She handed it to Laura. "Read this," she said. "It may help you understand." The book was old, the pages thin, and marked with neat handwriting. It told the story of a time when the world outside was filled with war and destruction. A group of people had built the Pleroma to protect the last hope of humanity. The city would be a place untouched by violence or greed, hidden until the right time. Laura looked up from the pages. "The right time for what?" "For what comes next?" the queen said simply. Olivia frowned. "And what is that?" The queen's voice lowered. "Beyond the Pleroma lies a path that no one has walked in many generations. It is not safe. The world beyond still carries the same dangers it did before this place was built." Ethan leaned forward. "Then why did you allow us to come here?" The queen studied him for a moment. "Because you were meant to find us. And now you must choose what to do with what you have found." After the meeting, the crew walked through the city again. Laura noticed something she had missed before. The people moved as if they had all the time in the world, but there was a watchfulness in their eyes. Every doorway had someone standing nearby, and every street seemed to have quiet observers. They visited a market filled with fresh food and handmade goods. Olivia admired the craftsmanship, but Laura kept noticing how no one ever mentioned anything beyond the city walls. When Ethan tried to ask an old man about the mountains in the distance, the man only smiled and spoke about the gardens instead. That night, back in the tower, the crew spoke in private. "They are hiding something," Ethan said. "They don't want us to know what is outside." Olivia shook her head. "Maybe they are just protecting what they have. If the outside is dangerous, maybe staying here is the smart choice." Laura looked out the window at the shining city. "Or maybe the danger is that once you enter the Pleroma, you never leave." They sat in silence for a while. The air outside was still, the city glowing softly under the moonlight. Laura felt the weight of the queen's words in her mind. Something was coming, and soon they would have to decide whether to stay in this perfect world or face whatever waited beyond its borders.
The next morning, the crew was called to the Great Hall. Queen Eleanor stood at the far end, the sunlight streaming in behind her through high windows. Her expression was calm, but there was a seriousness in her eyes. She asked them to sit, and servants brought water in crystal cups. "You have walked our streets and seen our gardens," the queen began. "You have felt the peace here, but now you must understand the truth." Laura leaned forward. "What truth?" The queen clasped her hands in front of her. "The Pleroma is a place apart from the world. Those who choose to stay will live in harmony, without sickness or war, but there is a price. Once you stay, you can never return to the world beyond." Ethan's brow furrowed. "Why not?" "Because the world outside will not understand," the queen said. "It will try to take what we have, and in doing so, it will destroy it." Olivia looked down at her hands. "And if we choose to leave, you may go," the queen answered. "But you will take with you only the memory of this place. You'll never be able to return." The room was quiet for a long moment. Laura felt the weight of the decision pressing on her. The Pleroma was everything a person could hope for. Safety, beauty, peace. But she also thought of the stars beyond, the unknown world still waiting to be found. After the meeting, the crew walked through the gardens together. Ethan was quiet, his hands behind his back. Olivia looked at the flowers as if trying to memorize every color. "I could stay here forever," Olivia said softly. "Feels like the world I always wanted." Laura shook her head. "Hey, it is perfect, yes. But perfection can be a cage." They passed a group of children playing by a fountain. Their laughter echoed in the warm air. None of them had ever seen anything beyond the city walls. Laura wondered if they even knew there was a world outside. That night, Laura could not sleep. She left her room and walked alone through the empty streets. The city was silent, except for the sound of the fountains. She found herself standing before the outer gate, a tall structure of white stone. There were guards there, but they did not speak. Beyond the gate, the land stretched toward dark mountains under a silver moon. Ethan found her there. "You're thinking of leaving?" he said. Laura nodded. "I have to. This place is beautiful, but it is not where humanity grows. We grow by facing what is hard, not by hiding from it. And if leaving means danger, he asked. Then we face it, she replied. The next day, the Queen called them again. She asked if they had made their choice. Olivia spoke first. I want to stay. I have found peace here. Maybe I can help keep it safe. Ethan hesitated, looking between Laura and Olivia, turned to the Queen. I want to stay, but I cannot. I have to see what is beyond. Laura met the Queen's gaze. We will leave, she said. The Queen's eyes softened. Then you will carry the Pleroma in your hearts. But know this. The world beyond is not the same as when you came. It changes while you are here. Servants brought them to the shuttle. Livia stood apart, her eyes bright but sad. She hugged them both. Find something worth all this, she said to Laura. The engines of the shuttle hummed to life. As they rose into the air, Laura looked down at the shining city one last time. The golden roofs, the gardens, the white towers, all seemed to glow under the sun. She knew she might never see it again. Beside her, Ethan stared out the window. Do you think we made the right choice? Laura watched the golden light fade as they rose higher. We will know when we see what is waiting for us. The horizon broke through the golden light that surrounded the planet. From the viewports, the Pleroma became smaller and smaller until it was only a bright point against the darkness of space. Laura stood at the front of the deck, her hands resting on the railing. She felt the weight of what they had left behind. Beside her, Ethan was silent, his gaze fixed on the fading glow. No one on the ship spoke for a long time. The crew went about their duties quietly, as if they all understood that something important had just happened. Olivia was gone, choosing to stay behind in that perfect world. Her absence left an empty place among them. Ethan broke the silence. Do you think we will ever find something like that again? Laura shook her head. Not like that. But maybe something different. Something worth finding. They moved deeper into the Eta-9 system, scanning the surrounding space. The sensors picked up faint energy readings coming from a nearby asteroid field. Laura ordered the ship toward it. As they approached, they found a broken vessel drifting among the rocks. Its hull was scarred and pieces floated away like debris from a forgotten war. They sent a small team to investigate. The vessel was empty, its systems dead, but they found records stored in the ship's data core. When they brought them back, Ethan and the tech crew began to decode them. What they found told a darker story. The records spoke of a world beyond the Eta-9 system, where civilizations had risen and fallen in endless conflict. Resources were scarce, and survival often came at the cost of others. The Pleroma had been built to hide from that world, to wait for a time when humanity could rise above its own flaws. Laura read through the files late into the night. The more she learned, the more she understood why Queen Eleanor had given them a choice. The outside world was harsh and unforgiving, but it was still their world, and it was worth facing. The horizon left the asteroid field and set a course for the outer edge of the system. Beyond it lay uncharted space. They did not know what they would find there, but Laura felt the same pull she had felt before they had ever seen the Pleroma. It was the pull of the unknown. Days passed in the quiet rhythm of travel. Ethan often joined Laura on the observation deck. They spoke little, but when they did, it was about the future. I keep thinking about what she said, Ethan told her one night, about us being at the edge of change. Do you think she meant something specific? Laura looked out at the stars. Maybe she meant that change isn't a place you reach. It's something you decide to do. We could have stayed. We didn't. That's change. When they reached the border of known space, the stars seemed to stretch wider and brighter. The navigation charts ended here. From this point forward, they were writing their own path. Laura gathered the crew in the main hall. We have left something behind, she said. Something rare and beautiful. But the reason we left is because there are still things out here worth finding. We will meet dangers, we will make mistakes, but we will keep moving forward. That is what makes us human. The crew nodded, some smiling faintly, others looking thoughtful. Ethan stood at her side, and she could tell he shared her belief. They were explorers. That was who they were meant to be. As the horizon moved into the dark, the stars ahead seemed to open into a path only they could see. The memory of the Pleroma stayed with them, not as something lost, but as a reminder of what humanity could be. It was a vision to carry forward, not a cage to remain in. Laura turned to Ethan. Set a course. Anywhere. Everywhere. He smiled. Course set.
Oh.
The engines roared to life, and the horizon surged ahead into the endless night. The golden light of the Pleroma was gone, but its lesson burned bright in their hearts. The journey was far from over. Thank you for watching and being part of our community.